There's a part of solo retirement that nobody really warns you about. It's not the money and it's not even the schedule. It's the part where you realize that if you don't build some kind of rhythm outside of your home, your world quietly shrinks. It doesn't always feel like loneliness. Sometimes it just feels like you're not being seen, like you can go days without a real familiar interaction. No coworkers, no good morning, no casual, how was your weekend? Nothing that anchors you to a sense of being a part of something. I'm Michelle, and on this channel we talk about creating a peaceful, confident life after 50, especially if you're living alone, traveling solo, or navigating retirement. Something that has become one of the most important parts of solo life for me lately is third places. Third places are the places you go when you're not at home and you're not at work. It's not a special event, it's not a vacation, it's just your spot. The place where you become a regular. The place where people start to recognize you and you start to recognize them. It's where you get that small but powerful feeling of belonging. And I know that can sound dramatic. It's like it's just a coffee shop, but I've learned it's not just anything. It's a very real form of emotional stability. I used to think my third place was the dog park, and for a while it was. It was easy, you show up, you chat, you laugh, your dog has friends, and you have this built-in sense of community without even trying. But something shifted. Most people go before or after work, and now that I'm retired, the time that I go, it's usually empty. And I realized, okay, I need to be intentional about this. Because if you don't choose a third place, your life can become home and errands and home again. And that's when I started paying attention to the coffee shop down the street from me. It's close enough that I can walk there, which matters more than most people realize, because when something is walkable, it becomes part of your life in a way that driving doesn't. It becomes easy and routine. It doesn't feel like a whole outing. It feels more like just a normal part of your day. I went at first the way most people go, kind of anonymous. You order, you smile, you take your drink, and you leave. But then I started going consistently. Same days, similar times, not because I was trying to build a community, but because I genuinely liked it there. And something interesting happened. Over time, the baristas started to recognize me. And then one day, they didn't even ask what I wanted. They just smiled and said something like, "Black coffee?" And I laughed because it wasn't a huge moment. But it kind of was, because it was proof that I wasn't invisible. I was becoming part of this little ecosystem of my neighborhood. And then it grew beyond the baristas. I started noticing the same people. People from the neighboring apartment buildings, people walking their dogs, and people sitting outside reading. And when you see someone enough times, the interactions start to shift. It goes from a polite smile to, "Hey," and then, "How are you?" And then, "Oh, you live around here too?" And suddenly you're talking about the weather or the neighborhood or the best place to get a bagel. And that's when it hit me. This is how your circle expands in midlife. Not always through some big event or joining some huge group or forcing yourself into social situations that feel exhausting. Sometimes it expands through tiny, repeated moments with people you didn't know 2 months ago. And for people living alone after 50, those tiny, repeated moments are not small. Because the truth is, third places aren't just about socializing. They're about emotional regulation. They're about having a soft structure to your life that isn't work. When you're working, your days have built-in contact. Even if you don't always get along with everyone at work, you've got familiar faces, voices, little chats, and daily routines. And when those things fade away in retirement, it can feel like you're adrift without even realizing it. Third places replace some of that in a healthier way. It gives you low pressure connection. No performance, you just show up. That's what makes it so great for retiring alone. It's all about connecting without any fuss. But here's the problem. Third places are disappearing. We don't always have as many places where it's normal to just exist, to sit, and to be there without spending a ton of money. A lot of places now are built around turning tables, moving people through quickly, making everything feel like a transaction. And that's why I think we have to be more intentional about creating them. Because if you live alone, especially if you're retired, you can't rely on work to provide your social scaffolding anymore. You have to build it on purpose. Wanting a third place does not mean you're lonely. It just means you're human. It means you realize we're not designed to spend our whole lives in one place, even if we adore our home. It means you understand that feeling connected isn't just something we can afford to take for granted. It's essential for our well-being. And I think for women in midlife, there's also something brave about becoming a regular somewhere. Because it requires showing up, it requires letting people see you in your everyday life. Not dressed up, not performing, just you. Ordering your black coffee, walking in with your normal face, living your normal life. And if you're someone who has ever felt like everyone already has their friends, or I don't know where I fit, a third place is one of the gentlest ways to rebuild community. You don't have to walk in and be the most social person in the room. You just have to become familiar. Familiarity is how trust begins. So if you're solo in retirement and you're feeling a little disconnected, here's what I want you to consider. What could be your third place? It could be a coffee shop, a library, a museum you visit regularly, a community center, a walking trail, a small local cafe, a bookstore, a park bench that you sit on at the same time every week. Even weekly classes. It's not about the location, but rather about being consistent. And if you're thinking, okay, but I don't want to spend money every time, you don't have to. For me, it's black coffee. That's it. It's not expensive. It's not a whole event. It's a small ritual that buys me something way bigger than caffeine. It buys me connection and a sense of place. It buys me that quiet confidence of knowing I belong here. And that confidence spills over into everything. You start walking around your neighborhood differently. You feel less like you're passing through and more like you're rooted. You start recognizing faces. You start feeling safer. And that's what we want in retirement, not just freedom, meaning and community. A sense of being part of the world again. So I'm curious, do you have a third place right now? Or are you realizing that you need one? And if you don't have one yet, what's one place you could start trying? Just once a week. And thank you so much for watching.